Hello everybody and welcome back to more political chatter. In this video we will be talking about Christie and this breaking news that he has dropped out of the 2024 presidential race. This came as a huge surprise to everyone who has been following this race, as it was just revealed about 2 hours ago, about an hour and a half before he actually announced that he would drop out, that it was coming out that he would announce that he would drop out. But Christie has said in the past that he will certainly wait until the New Hampshire primary, that he will compete in the New Hampshire primary, that he is a contender in this primary. However, he has said that from the beginning, that he wants to compete in New Hampshire after numerous calls to drop out from people like, obviously, Donald Trump. They have a huge rivalry. Nikki Haley, um, Ron DeSantis have all called on him to drop out. But Christie has stayed strong. He has seen way more support in New Hampshire than anyone really predicted. No one really thought that Christie would be at 12% in New Hampshire. It's not a whole lot, but it's third place, and no one thought that he would really be at all relevant in 2024 like he was in 2016 or 2012, previous presidential elections, but somehow he actually does remain relevant. That is until now. He is dropping out of this race, and he has not given any endorsement to anyone. Now, this is huge, as a CNN poll came out just yesterday, and we've been talking so much about how this race in New Hampshire between Trump and Nikki Haley is narrowing down so much. And just yesterday, when no one at all thought that Christie would drop out, that he would be in for the January 23rd primary, we had a poll come out that showed Donald Trump at 39% of likely voters, Haley at 32%. That is just a 7-point lead for Trump. That is in single digits, nothing like we are seeing in any other state. Now, that's just a 7-point margin. And then would you look at Christie, who's in third place at 12%? If Haley were to win 2/3 of Christie voters, which she is, then she wins the primary. If, obviously, this poll is incredibly accurate, and this is how things are standing right now among the whole state. Vivek Ramaswamy was at 8, DeSantis is at 5, Hutchinson is at 1. DeSantis might drop out after Iowa, but that's a whole different story. But now, the even more important part of this poll, now that Christie has dropped out, is the second place finishers. We don't really need to look at that. But those behind Christie, so people who answered Christie is their number one choice in this poll, they solidly break towards Haley when Christie is removed as an option. They ask you your first choice and your second choice. And look at that. Haley wins 65% of Christie voters when he is not in the race. And now Christie is not in the race. As I just mentioned, if Haley wins by a single percentage point in this poll, if Christie is out, because she's down by 7, 2/3 are backing Nikki Haley now that Christie is out, according to this poll. 2/3 of 12 is obviously 8. She wins this primary by a percentage point. Now, this is a huge development in this race, and I do want to mention that Christie has not endorsed Haley. I really don't think that this will affect any of those Haley number 2 behind Christie voters that we just looked at. I really don't. I think that, it's not like Christie has already endorsed Nikki Haley, like when they asked respondents for this poll. It's not like that or anything. So I don't think that Christie not endorsing anyone will really affect this race, or affect that at least at all. But if this poll holds to be true, Nikki Haley would win by a percentage point. So just like that, we've been talking about this race so much, how it has narrowed so much Nikki Haley was in a very distant third. And then she gets overtaken by, who is that? Oh, Christie was at third at one point. I forgot about that. And then we see this point where the debates happen and Nikki Haley skyrockets, and she has not gone down since. She has not looked back since. And now she is fairly close to Trump, at least in this new CNN poll. And just like that, we have talked about, for so long, for months and months, how this race has been narrowing. But for the first time, we are talking about how Nikki Haley might actually win this primary because her chances with Chris Christie now out skyrockets. With his 12% now looking for someone else to vote for, I think that the vast majority of them will fall under the Haley column and that she could actually beat Donald Trump in this primary. Because remember, about 0.0% of Chris Christie voters are voting for Donald Trump. This is in zero way a Donald Trump victory, right? This does not help Donald Trump at all. We argue about if DeSantis drops out, who that helps. He's really long run, who it would matter. But, if Haley were to drop out, who would benefit? But Chris Christie, there's no doubt. Basically, all of his voters are going to Nikki Haley. I think that it's over 65% because they look at these new polls. Ron DeSantis was at 5 in New Hampshire in this CNN poll. They're obviously not voting for Trump. They're obviously not voting for Vivek Ramaswamy, who's even more extreme than Trump. I think that more than 65% of those Christie voters will fall under the Haley column. So, this is breaking news, and it's major news because Haley can finally have a shot at winning New Hampshire, and the CNN debate tonight in Iowa are such high stakes because Haley is on a roll, but she has to get second in Iowa for her to have real momentum from Iowa going into New Hampshire. Then she could win New Hampshire. And then who knows? Definitely not Nevada. But South Carolina. She could have the momentum to win her home state of South Carolina. It's a possibility if she does win New Hampshire. And just like that, there were 5. Basically 4. Because Asa Hutchinson, his campaign is absolutely dead and he's just running a protest campaign. But just like that, we're down to 4. It's weird seeing this table now so small. We have had so many casualties along the way, beginning with Francis Suarez. Still miss Francis Suarez. He was only in it for a month. Never opened a campaign store, which I'm really sad about. But I think he'll run in 2028 because by that time he'll be a congressman. I have a lot of Francis Suarez theories. But what really matters, 5 candidates left. Basically 4. Asa Hutchinson is out of it. He'll get a point in New Hampshire at tops. But we're looking at these 4 really competing for this nomination now. In Iowa, again, a very high stakes debate between Haley and DeSantis because, you see those ads from CNN. Who will come out on top? Well, not on top, but second. Who will come out on top or over the other? Because it really does depend tonight. If someone crushes it, then they will look very good heading into a strong second place in Iowa, which they need. Not really DeSantis, but more so just Haley. She needs it going into New Hampshire. So this debate is very critical. The New Hampshire debate, right before the primary, is even more critical. That one will also probably be just between Haley and DeSantis. But the question does come up, will it even happen? Because DeSantis could be out right after Iowa, right? Because there are these rumors. That's what big donors are saying, that he's going to drop out right after Iowa. And then, will Trump debate Haley? I personally think that there's a possibility, and I'm trying to go to this debate. I'm in the talks with someone about going, so I'm very invested in this New Hampshire debate. And I think that Trump might actually go because of how close this primary is becoming. He needs it. But obviously, it is CNN. He doesn't like corporate media at all, and he doesn't like participating in other people's debates about, having to interact with other candidates. So he might also. So that would just leave Haley with a debate with no one, so it wouldn't even happen. So A couple high-stakes debates coming up. But most importantly, takeaway, Christie is out, Haley can win. Absolutely insane. Last minute change of this race. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope to see you all later.